man. Ok, la tromba.
I think that the innovation of this sort of new generation of 3D has the opportunity to change the movie experience in a way that literally has not happened since we went from black and white to color. Monsters vs. Aliens, which in itself has a wonderful homage and throwback to some of those 50s monsters movies, it's such a perfect opportunity to showcase this next generation of 3D, to show off the bells and whistles of it. Monsters vs. Aliens is just a perfect fit.
I think this would be a great idea for a movie. We'll do it in 3D.
Trying something that's never been done before and figuring out techniques, it kind of harkens back to making movies 80 years ago where, you know, people had these tools and there was no real experience telling them how to use it. And then we're backing.
Oh, and then you
we're
can
backing,
see that piece coming towards you.
yeah.
Everyone that we had pitched this to loved the idea that we were making this movie in 3D. We did show a little bit of 3D to some of them.
Well, if I knew who Ladybug really was, I'd keep it a secret. I would even help her. Like, say, if you were
Creates
Ladybug,
a new set
I'd
of
cover for
obstacles
you.
and challenges,
When you
but
needed
at
to
the same
transform in
time,
school, go fight the baddies, you know?
opportunities to tell the
Oh,
story.
yeah? Well,
And a filmmaker
if I was
is
Ladybug,
using the two
I
most
wouldn't even tell
powerful
you to protect you
tools
from the
that we as
baddies.
human beings have, which is hearing and sight, to create a dimensional experience. Now you can actually deliver that third dimension.
Here we go.
These are my new friends.
Monsters vs. Alien has got an amazing cast. You know, what we have found time and time again on these films is that when you get great comedians into our little recording booths in it, they go crazy.
Gentlemen, I'm afraid we are not making a very good first impression.
What do people scream when they see you coming?
This is going to be a boring one. Time for a cup of joe.
I think the idea of 5'2" Reese Witherspoon playing a 5-story monster was instantly appealing to us. Reese is A, a great actress, and B, really smart, and C, game for anything. And I think that I think she really enjoyed the idea of this sort of transformational character, and she's kind of sunk her teeth into it.
I can't fight that thing. I can't even. I'm hyperventilating. Does anybody have a giant paper bag?
Whoa,
So
never
funny
would have
because
guessed
when you're
that. What does it
recording these
matter?
things, you sound big
I wasn't
when
even
you go
chosen
after
as a
box.
QNLB.
And then they say, giant monsters are chasing you, and I get to scream and then blow out all the microphones. And they all go, that was really good. Can you do it a little less shrill?
That was great.
And it makes me laugh so hard.
That
line is really funny.
Hi, I'm benzoate ostelazine bicarbonate, or you can call me Bob.
Seth Rogen plays Bob. He's very, very sweet and very, very innocent, and that's kind of his charm.
Oh, thanks, Doc. You are a lifesaver. He's very well-intentioned, enthusiastic. That was kind of my modus operandi, to be an enthusiastic brainless mess. These disguises are the bomb!
He's given the character of Bob a tremendous heart and made him a real sort of fan favorite.
Hugh Laurie plays Dr. Cockroach, PhD.
Welcome.
And we went with him because he had a very deep, sophisticated voice.
Not a quack, I'm a mad scientist.
And we thought the voice just made a great match with that type of a character.
They called me crazy, but I'll show them. I'll show them all.
I'm very happy being a cockroach. He's not necessarily a man of action, exactly. He would take care more of the intellectual side of things. He's a plucky sort of a fellow. Would you expect cockroaches to be plucky? That's sort of what they bring, isn't it? Pluck.
Relax. Old Link's got this one under control. Come on, you guys! Let's take this thing down!
We've been blessed with a bunch of really talented comedians on this movie, and Will's, another example of that. He's incredibly funny and just has brought this sort of machismo to the missing link.
1,000!
He's full of bravado. He thinks of himself as a pretty tough guy.
I know what you're thinking. First day in prison, you want to take down the toughest guy in the yard? But I'd like to see you try.
He's able to make sort of this macho guy funny and endearing all at the same time.
Hang on to your socks, we're going for a ride!
Kiefer Sutherland plays General W.R. Monger. And he is the tough five-star general.
Not only do I have an idea, I have a plan!
The first day that I walked into a soundstage to do any recording at all, in the corner there was a picture of W.R. Monger, and that was the first moment that I kind of went, oh, now I know what he's got to sound like.
Hoorah!
He screams like a general. It's really amazing.
Very good, Warren. All right, let's get it started in here.
It's not a stretch for Stephen Colbert to play the President of the United States. It was such a perfect role for him.
To find the voice for the president, I tried to be just as declarative and as authoritative as I could without actually thinking about anything I was saying. And this is what came out. Hollow certainty. I'm brave. I'm a brave president.
Attention, all aliens! Destroy all monsters!
There are monsters, and they are fighting me. This guy, I am the alien of the titles.
Have fun exploding!
Really wanted a unique villain. Rainn Wilson, we thought, would be so perfect. Who'd give, a new take on that alien overlord villain.
He actually came in and added so much character to the lines that we had that it was kind of a springboard back and forth. He would say something, it would put another line in our head, he would springboard off of that, and it was a lot of really great back and forth with him.
I come in peace, I mean you no harm, and you all will die. Galax are out.
All of our actors were able to take it to the next level and add things and say, can I try something? And, just go completely off. And sometimes that, that sends you in a direction with the character that influences the rest of the movie. And it's extra work, but it makes the movie that much better.
Say hello to Insectosaurus!
Monsters vs. Aliens is, for all of us, a sort of a return to what turned us into nerds in the first place, which is monster movies. We wanted to imagine what the experience of the monsters would be like in a much more contemporary environment, and what it would be like to re-release those monsters out into the modern world.
Follow my lead. Stop! That was an accident. Don't destroy anything.
And I thought it would be a great idea to actually have, horrific monsters, but give them personalities and kind of satirize them at the same time.
Hit, shot, ha! Hit, ha, hit, ha! Ow!
That's kind of where the 3D started back in the 50s, which is the red and blue glasses. Now we've taken it to the next level, and we've also taken the monster movie to the next level, so I think they're a perfect fit.
This is not what I always call our father's 3D. A kind of grainy experience.
You got a better idea, nerd.
For a 3D movie to work, you need to have a left eye view of the movie and a right eye view. So if you hold your finger up and you just close one eye and then the other, you'll see that slightly different perspective on the world. If you think about our eyes are just like cameras, when it gets to your brain, that's the point where the images are merged. To do this digitally, we now have a single projector, and we send in the left image and the right image, and the projector actually plays these alternately, left, right, at 144 frames a second. When you put your glasses on, your left eye only sees the left images, and your right eye only sees the right images, but it's moving so fast that they just merge together into this great 3D space.
Now that we defeated the Big
You
Bad?
won't be around to see what the power of Quantonium can do.
I know how to use it. Just fine!
I think it's less about the technology and more about achieving this look in the film that we want, and something that's completely original and unique.
When you look back at traditional animation, it's something that has been designed flat, drawn flat, conceived flat, and delivered flat as a graphic art form. And then when we became CG, computer model based, we were starting to use a spatial environment to create the movie, but we were always delivering it in the traditional way, meaning on a flat surface. Now we're able to create spatially in our workflow and then deliver a spatial environment. And so You really get immersed in the world of the movie in the way that we see it when we're creating it. Finally, we're able to deliver that. So when you see the frame of the movie, it's no longer just a frame of a picture, but it's a space that we either look through into their world, or sometimes they come out into our world, into the theater.
For instance, Link comes out of the pool at the party. And he starts going, "Chlorine in my eyes."
Chlorine! Chlorine! Chlorine in my eyes!
Stop. That's great. Let's put his hands way out of the screen, you know, and we actually reframed it a little bit so that we could get his hands coming straight out of the camera and, you know, over the audience's head so we could really feel that. And there's just little instances like that that you go through and you find ways of taking the 3D aspect and just tricking it out a little more.
We have the tools up front to really kind of look for that great opportunity or that great angle that really is interesting spatially. You know, when you look down on a depth shot or look up, you can look at that and go, wow, this is the angle that really sells the scale.
Wow, you really are big.
Yeah, but I'm still me.
Except you did just destroy the Golden Gate Bridge.
Woo-wee! Now that's a robot!
Monsters vs. Aliens is certainly a grandiose film. The 3D really shows off the scale differences that we have with the characters and also with the sets, like the underground prison, like the Golden Gate Bridge scene, the chase in San Francisco. It's been a really wonderful tool for us to juxtapose the closeness and the intimacy with the grand scale.
I'm not a danger to anyone or anything. Sorry.
That's what I like about the 3D, and like when you're in San Francisco, you just feel a little bit more like you're in San Francisco because, you know, you feel like there's textures and dimensions to it.
Tons of research trips, lots of photography, looking at photographs, looking at drawings and paintings, trying to find those essential qualities that San Francisco has that will make it instantly recognizable. There's obviously certain specific buildings that you can pick out, but there's a type of architecture, there's a type of trees, there's the fog that you see off in the distance, there's the steep hills. So that when you would look at that chase scene, you would instantly get the flavor of the city.
This is San Francisco. This isn't far from my home.
Oh, feel the wind on your antenna. Isn't this wonderful?
There's a real balance in this movie of taking our action seriously while taking our characters totally comedic.
So, how are we gonna get
I mean,
the
and the
couch
big
back up the
action scene in
slide?
San Francisco is pretty rad. Gotta say, just a good as an action fan, it's like, that's solid action.
Hey guys, catch me!
When they do very complicated action sequences, I still can't get out of my head. Oh my God, so they actually blew up that building. Oh no, they didn't blow up the building. They drew a building. Nonetheless, a huge amount of work has obviously gone into these action sequences, which are beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Go, 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 go!
There was a very specific approach in the action scenes that I was very keen on doing, which is to not let them feel like an animated movie. Try and embrace what would happen in a live action film. If there's a shot you can't do in a live action movie, let's not do it.
The bridge was an interesting scene because it was one of our first big action scenes after First Contact. And really, you know, from a 3D perspective, you know, the Golden Gate Bridge is just a prime opportunity because it has all this depth in it.
It's a big, gigantic set piece that took a while for us to crack, but I think it's one of our, you know, most thrilling scenes in the movie.
We all think the new Susan is the cat's meow. I'm sorry.
Lena Anderson is one of our animators. She's one of our supervising animators. She best fit the body type of Ginormica, tall, thin, athletic looking, and so we put her into, you know, a pair of sweats that kind of look like what Ginormica wears.
And then we mocked up a San Francisco street from our model designs at full scale. And it was actually incredibly valuable because it helped sort of nail home the idea of scale and what it's like to be a person who's not comfortable with being big in an environment that all of a sudden feels like a miniature, and just how you would step if you didn't want to step on a car. Well, what that does to the physical acting for the character, especially a character that has yet to become comfortable being this size.
You know, we've stuck the camera in all sorts of different locations and just, you know, what is this going to look like from a normal person's point of view when a giant woman walks down the street? And we had her actually walking around looking from building to building, and whatever she bumped into and stepped on and accidentally, you know, in real life, we actually kind of use that. Like a couple times she looked up and was like, oh, I'm sorry, I crushed the light here. And we were like, that's exactly what we want.
There you go. That was the real reaction.
It was really good fun and I think inspirational for her as well. And I think you can see that in the animation of the sequence. There's a great deal of Line within that sequence.
Going from, you know, literally a storybook into black and white film, then into sound, then into color, and now into 3D. All of these are one more step towards what I imagine is the dream environment, where literally when you dream at night, you are fully immersed in the world. And so I think we're going to keep going that way as long as technology allows us to do that.
You know, if you look back over the last 25 years, the greatest innovators and users of state-of-the-art technology in making the finest movies, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Jim Cameron, Peter Jackson, Bob Zemeckis, every one of those people is working in 3D today. And so this is not just a little gimmick, it's not just a little trend that's going to come and go.
The overall experience is like, wow, I really felt like I was part of that action rather than, you know, something flew at me. And that's what we're trying to achieve.
Okay, boys, set the terror level at code brown, because I need to change my pants.
Orlando!